Hello Year 10, Mr. Thompson here with a video PowerPoint about your first GCSE, your short course RE, and for those students who are doing it for the early entry English GCSE. There's been a lot in the news recently, a lot all over the media about how GCSEs and the exams have been dropped and what will be replacing them. So this video is designed to go through that and give you as much clarity as possible. So let's talk about what we know already. Well, the first thing that we know is that there will be no GCSE, BTEC or Cambridge National exams this year. So that means in your first GCSEs, you will not be doing an exam at the end of this year. Okay, you'll still be entered for those first GCSEs, but you won't be doing an exam. Okay, that applies for BTEC and Cambridge Nationals. So it doesn't matter if you're doing engineering or if you're doing IT, if you're doing history or you are doing geography, the same applies for everyone. That also applies for those of you, which is the vast majority of you, that are doing short course RE, and it applies to those of you, about 25 of you, who are doing the early entry English GCSE. So instead, what will happen is your teacher will generate something called a centre assessed grade, which we call a CAG. Okay, so you may hear me and other teachers using that terminology, CAGs. Okay, and essentially what a CAG is a teacher judgment about what your attainment has been like over the last 2 years. This is the same for all of them. Okay, for GCSE, BTEC and Cambridge Nationals, you'll get a CAG for all of them. And just so you know, your GCSE or your BTEC or your Cambridge National that you get at the end of this year, it will be as valid as any other year. So it won't be like if you got first GCSE history, that won't be as valid as your GCSEs that you do next year. They are all equally weighted. Colleges will look at them as the same. Employers will look at them as the same. What it is though, it's just a different way of assessing. So rather than having one massive set of exams at the end of the year, it's just a different way of assessing that. At the moment, we do not have specifics from the exam board, so we can't really give you the minutiae of detail that we would like about the different subjects. However, we will tell you as soon as we know. Okay, we'll share that with you. Okay, I thought I would share this infographic. It's from Ofqual, which is the section of the government which deals with qualifications. And I thought it's really good at kind of showing, firstly, what teachers will use as evidence, but also what your kind of grade will be like and how it will be generated. I get to annotate a PowerPoint. I always like to do that. So if we look at this section first, the working out your grade section, as I said, it will be teacher judgment, and we call those CAGs, Centre Assessed Grades. Some of you might remember last year there was quite a lot of stuff in the media about the algorithm. There is no algorithm. What that basically means is what your teachers say is, so if your teachers say you get a 6, that 6 goes to the exam board. There's no jiggery-pokery from the exam boards. They're not going to mess it around. What the teachers say is what is given to the exam board. And if you're happy with it and there's no appeals, that's the grade that you get. Okay, this bit here, you will only be assessed on what you've taught. So if you've missed something because of lockdown, that's your cohort, that's your year. Let's say you haven't covered everything in short course RE, you're not going to be tested on that. You're only going to be tested on what you've been taught. And just so you know, we will make it really clear here which evidence is being used to grade you. Okay, so if it's an assessed piece of work, we will let you know. If it's just a piece of classwork, we will let you know. So there's no stress or anxiety. Okay, you're not constantly under pressure. You're not constantly being tested. Okay, we will let you know when those testings happen and when it counts for your CAGs. Let's have a look at this bit here on evidence. So what Ofqual have said is the evidence that we can use as teachers to come up with your grade. Okay, so the obvious one is mock exams and tests that have already been done. Okay, so if you've done a mock or a test or an assessment, in class or in school, that can count towards your CAG. Equally, if you're doing NEA, which is coursework, non-exam assessment, let's say in IT or computing or DT, that will continue, and we will take that as part of your CAG as well. Okay, even if they're incomplete, okay, we can still use them because we can see how well you've done. So don't worry if you're in a class which hasn't been able to do it yet because of lockdown. We can still use the great stuff that you've done so far. So well done. If you are doing an art and design first GCSE, then we will use your portfolio. So you will not be doing the assessments. Instead, we will use your portfolio as evidence because that shows your artistic skill. And the final thing that we will use is the exam boards are going to provide some assessment materials, and we will use those to assess you as well. And I'll just show you how that's going to happen in a minute. So here you can see this is our plan for welcoming you back into the Castle School. Okay, and this is just, remember, this is only about your first GCSE, your short course RE, and if you're doing the early entry English. In all other subjects, we will just continue to follow our specifications and our schemes of learning, so this is just for those subjects. So the first thing to know is we've got 3 weeks here where we are going to be calling this recovery. Okay, this is about you coming back and having an absolutely great time back in school. I'm sure you've missed being in school, even if you don't really want to admit it. I'm sure you have missed learning. I'm sure you've missed the teachers. I'm sure you've missed your friends. I'm sure you've missed school life. So it's about coming back into school in the best possible way. So in this period, we will be just getting back to learning, covering really exciting content that maybe we've missed, immersing ourselves in some excellent, really interesting knowledge. Okay? In that time, your teachers may set you quizzes and tests, but that will identify the gaps that you've got in your knowledge. It is not to add to your CAGs. In this period, there'll be nothing which will be scary or freak you out to add to your CAGs. There'll be no massive assessments in this period. It's about welcoming you back to school and rebuilding those relationships. Okay? Then we've got 2 weeks here. We've got this week here, the 29th of March and the 19th of April. And as you can see, we are calling these revision periods. So in your first GCSE, in your short course RE, and if you do early English, you will be revising for assessments in these 2 weeks. We should, fingers crossed, hope by this point we should know what the assessment materials are going to be like that the exam boards are setting us. So in this period, we'll show them to you, we'll show you model answers, we'll explain to you how to get the best possible results in those assessments. And then you'll see we have a 4-week window, which we're calling the assessment window. Okay, and in this assessment window, you'll have between 2 and 3 assessments which will cover the content that you know well. Okay, we don't know what those assessments will look like because we're getting those from the exam boards, but one thing I will say is they are not massive exams. Okay, last year, the year before, sorry, not last year, but the year before and the year before that, our students sat massive exams as normal, where there was like an all or nothing. You had to do really well on those exams. We're calling these assessments because this is just another bit of evidence that we'll put in the melting pot of other bits of evidence to generate your grade. So if you don't do very well on one of them, that's okay, because you might have done really well in other assessments or other mock exams or other pieces of work through the year. Okay? Once we've done all the assessments here, your teachers will then mark, they'll moderate it, you'll have half term, and then SLT, so people like me, Mr. Lamb, Mr. Wordsworth, Miss Gormley, will then look through the CAGs, we'll make sure they're right, we'll ask teachers to justify it, and we'll quality assure. So then when we send off your CAGs in the middle of June, we are 100% confident that you have got what you deserve. Okay, so let's look through what our plans for the assessments are. As I said, I'll emphasize this again, your grade will be determined in a different way, and it is not a worse way than previous years, just a different way of assessing your progress and your attainment. But the principle is that we want to work with you, and we want to award you the grade that you deserve. We are not here to catch you out. We really want to give you the grade that will reflect your progress and effort over the last a couple of years. As you know, as I said, the exam board are providing assessment materials, and most of our subjects will use these. But I'll just say it one more time. This is not a massive exam series. We are using these as assessments like we would previous assessments that we've done before. Let's have a look though at what the evidence is that teachers will use to generate your CAG. So here we have a range of bits of evidence. As I said, I've described it before like a melting pot, and we'll put all of these things in the melting pot, and then teachers will generate what your grade is. So the first thing that we will look at is any NEAs or coursework that you have completed. Even if those NEAs are incomplete, we can still use the good stuff that you have done. Any assessments that you do in that 4-week May assessment window, we will use. As I said before, any previous mock exams, we will use the evidence from those. Any in-class assessments, we will use those. So for example, as you know, I'm a history teacher, and in history we like to set 18-mark essays. So for example, if you've done an 18-mark essay on people's health, maybe living conditions in the medieval, we will use that as one of the bits of evidence to generate your CAG. And then finally, the Ofqual have said we can also use homework, classwork, bookwork and portfolio work to generate your CAGs. So then, big question, you're coming back, what do you need to do? Well, the first thing I would say is just do not panic. Okay, don't panic. We're here to help you. We've got a really good plan to help you. Okay, it's all about getting you back in the best possible way so you're as relaxed as possible, but you realise you have to do kind of work hard, and it's all about being the right level of stress. We don't want you super stressed, and we don't want you super laid back. We want you somewhere in the middle. And so work with us and make sure you do well on your assessments, and make sure you are calm, because that is the best way to achieve. So, second point, you just need to enjoy it. I don't know about you, but I found this lockdown really difficult. There's been some really tricky parts of this lockdown, and I cannot wait to see you guys come back early next week. Okay, I'm sure you're the same, and I'm sure you can't wait to just come back in and get straight back into learning on Tuesday. So enjoy it, okay? Really enjoy it. Just appreciate everything that you can, because if you enjoy something, you're going to be better at it. But also, if you enjoy something, it's just good for you, yeah? So just really enjoy learning. Just a little thing, logistics. I think bring in all of your work that you've completed over lockdown. Make sure that all comes in, especially if you've done a practical subject at home like art or textiles or photography. You need that stuff in school to add to your portfolio. So make sure you do get organised and bring that in the first week. Work hard in lessons, because if you work hard, you're going to do better. It's as simple as that. Also, I would say, if you're a student that for whatever reason hasn't engaged fully through lockdown, maybe you found it more difficult, maybe something's happened, and that's meant that your engagement hasn't been to the extent that you would have liked. If you are a student like that, you've got a lot to still play for. You've got these assessments coming up, so you can still turn it round by working hard now and doing well in your assessments. Okay? I think you need to just do this, don't you? You need to turn up on time, complete the work. If we've got after school revision sessions, you need to go to those. You know, just do everything you can to prepare yourself and to do as well as you possibly can. And finally, this one, talk to us, okay? All your staff are here to help you, okay? That's everyone from your teachers, heads of faculty, heads of house, tutors, pastoral support officers. Everyone here is here to help you. So if something's not going right, if you're anxious or you're worried, or conversely, you're actually really happy about something, share it, tell us, work with us, because we are here to help you. Okay. My final thing I want to say is just an absolutely massive well done to those of you who have worked incredibly hard during lockdown. It hasn't been easy, and I am constantly impressed with our students, with you, about how you get up, you do the work, you work really hard, and you're often doing this in isolation at home. So well done. If you have smashed lockdown and you've done really well, and you've got all of that evidence and all of that work and all of that knowledge, that's going to help you really well. That's going to mean that you're going to be better in these assessments because your knowledge is better, but also we will be able to use that as evidence. Okay, that work can be used as evidence to go towards your CAG. So I'll say it again, well done. Absolutely, you guys are an inspiration, so good work, and I will see you next week. Thanks very much.